Most people over 50 are eating the same vegetables they've always eaten: broccoli, carrots, spinach, maybe some kale if they're feeling ambitious. But there's one vegetable sitting quietly in the produce section that nutrition scientists are increasingly excited about. It's been a staple in German, Korean, and Indian kitchens for centuries. Yet, in most Western countries, people walk right past it without a second glance. It's called kohlrabi. And here's what's fascinating. When researchers look at what this vegetable does to the aging body specifically, the effects are surprisingly targeted. We're talking about bone density, blood sugar, gut health, inflammation, and even vision. Stay with me for the next 10 minutes, because by the end, you're going to understand exactly why this odd-looking vegetable deserves a place on your plate, especially after 50. And food benefit number 5 might genuinely surprise you. What is kohlrabi? Before we dive in, let's quickly cover what kohlrabi actually is, because many people have never cooked with it. Kohlrabi is a member of the brassica family, the same family as broccoli, cabbage, and Brussels sprouts. The name comes from the German words for cabbage and turnip, which describes it perfectly. It looks like a turnip that grew above the ground, with leaves shooting out from the sides. You can eat the bulb raw or cooked, and the leaves are edible too. Raw, it has a crisp, mild sweetness, somewhere between a radish and an apple. Cooked, it becomes tender and slightly nutty. It's popular across Germany, Austria, Vietnam, India, and Korea cuisines, with very different traditions, but a shared appreciation for this underrated vegetable. Now here's what it does to your body when you eat it consistently. Benefit number 1. It supports bone density. After 50, bone loss becomes one of the most significant health risks, particularly for women. Post-menopause, but men are affected too. The medical term is osteopenia, and if left unchecked, it progresses to osteoporosis. Here's where kohlrabi comes in. 1 cup of kohlrabi contains a meaningful dose of vitamin K1, a nutrient that plays a direct role in bone mineralization specifically. It activates a protein called osteocalcin, which binds calcium to your bones. Without adequate vitamin K, calcium circulates in your blood, but doesn't anchor properly to bone tissue. Kohlrabi also provides calcium, magnesium, and phosphorus, 3 minerals that work together to maintain bone structure. A 2019 study published in Nutritionists found that increased vitamin K intake was associated with significantly lower rates of hip fracture in adults over 50. You don't need a supplement. You need kohlrabi and other brassica vegetables consistently on your plate. Benefit number 2. Blood sugar regulation. This one matters enormously after 50, when insulin sensitivity naturally declines, and the risk of type 2 diabetes increases significantly. Kohlrabi has a glycemic index of approximately 15. That's exceptionally low. For context, white bread sits at 70. This means kohlrabi causes virtually no blood sugar spike, making it one of the safest vegetables for anyone managing blood sugar or prediabetes. But it goes further. Kohlrabi is rich in dietary fiber, about 5 grams per cup, which slows the digestion of carbohydrates, preventing glucose spikes. The fiber also feeds beneficial gut bacteria, which research increasingly links to improved insulin sensitivity. There's also emerging evidence that compounds in brassica vegetables may help regulate glucokinase, an enzyme involved in how the liver processes glucose. Practical tip: replace potato in soups and stews with kohlrabi. Same texture when cooked. Dramatically better blood sugar response. Benefit number 3. Brain and nervous system protection. This is the benefit most people don't expect from a vegetable. Kohlrabi is one of the better plant sources of vitamin B6, a nutrient that plays a critical role in the production of neurotransmitters, including serotonin, dopamine, and GABA. These are the chemical messengers that regulate mood, focus, and sleep quality. After 50, B6 deficiency becomes increasingly common, and research links low B6 levels to increased risk of cognitive decline, depression, and peripheral neuropathy, that tingling or numbness in the hands and feet that many older adults experience. Kohlrabi also contains potassium, which supports healthy nerve signal transmission, and folate, which is involved in protecting DNA and supporting brain function. 1 cup per day won't replace a neurologist, but as part of a consistent diet, the B vitamins in kohlrabi are doing meaningful work. Benefit number 4. Eye health. Here's one that often gets overlooked in conversations about vegetables and aging. Kohlrabi, especially the leaves, contains lutein and zeaxanthin, 2 carotenoid compounds that accumulate in the macula of the eye. These compounds act as a natural filter against harmful blue light and oxidative damage, and studies show they significantly reduce the risk of age-related macular degeneration, AMD, the leading cause of vision loss in adults over 50. The American Journal of Ophthalmology published data showing that people with the highest dietary intake of lutein and zeaxanthin had a 43% lower risk of advanced AMD. Don't discard those kohlrabi leaves. Sauté them like kale or spinach. That's where much of the lutein concentration lives. Benefit number 5, anti-inflammatory powerhouse. This is the one that surprises people most. Chronic low-grade inflammation, sometimes called inflammaging, is now understood to be a root driver of virtually every major age-related disease: heart disease, type 2 diabetes, Alzheimer's, arthritis, and certain cancers. Kohlrabi is loaded with compounds that directly combat this process. First, glucosinolates, sulfur-containing compounds found in all brassica vegetables. When you chew or chop kohlrabi, an enzyme called myrosinase converts glucosinolates into isothiocyanates, including a compound called sulforaphane. Sulforaphane has been studied extensively for its ability to activate the body's own antioxidant defense systems, reduce inflammatory markers like IL-6 and CRP, and even support the detoxification pathways in the liver. Second, kohlrabi contains significant vitamin C, about 84 mg per cup, which is roughly 93% of the daily recommended intake for adults. Vitamin C is a potent antioxidant that neutralizes free radicals and reduces inflammatory damage throughout the body. The combination of sulforaphane and vitamin C in one food is genuinely impressive, and research consistently shows that the anti-inflammatory effects of brassica vegetables are cumulative, meaning the benefit compounds over months of consistent consumption. Benefit number 6, muscle preservation. After 50, the body begins to lose muscle mass at a rate of roughly 1 to 2% per year, a condition called sarcopenia. By 70, many adults have lost 20 to 30% of their peak muscle mass, which directly impacts strength, balance, metabolism, and independence. Kohlrabi supports muscle health in 2 key ways. First, its potassium content helps regulate the acid-base balance in the body. When the body becomes too acidic, which happens with age and with high-protein diets, it actually breaks down muscle tissue to buffer that acidity. Potassium-rich foods like kohlrabi help neutralize this process. Second, vitamin C is essential for collagen synthesis, and collagen isn't just for skin. It's a structural component of muscle tissue, tendons, and ligaments. Adequate vitamin C intake is directly linked to better muscle repair and connective tissue health. Benefit number 7, gut health and digestive regularity. We've talked about fiber already in the context of blood sugar, but let's go deeper on what kohlrabi's fiber does specifically for the gut. Kohlrabi contains a mix of soluble and insoluble fiber. The soluble fiber feeds bifidobacteria and lactobacillus, 2 of the most beneficial bacterial species in the human gut, both of which decline naturally after 50. The insoluble fiber adds bulk to stool and accelerates transit time, reducing the risk of constipation, diverticular disease, and colorectal issues. Importantly, brassica vegetables like kohlrabi also contain prebiotic compounds that act as fertilizer for your gut microbiome, supporting the production of short-chain fatty acids like butyrate, which nourish the cells lining your colon and reduce inflammation. If you're already eating probiotic foods like yogurt or kefir, adding kohlrabi as a prebiotic source creates a genuinely powerful synergy. How to eat it? Let's make this practical, because the biggest barrier with kohlrabi is simply not knowing what to do with it. Raw, slice it thin and eat it with hummus or a yogurt dip. Shred it into slaws, dice it into salads. It has a satisfying crunch and mild sweetness that most people enjoy immediately. Cooked, cube it and roast at 400 Fahrenheit or 200 Celsius with olive oil, garlic and salt until golden. Add it to soups and curries. Mash it as a potato substitute. Steam it and toss with lemon and herbs. The leaves, don't throw them away. Sauté with olive oil and garlic, exactly as you would kale or spinach. They're nutritionally dense and cook down beautifully. Start with 2 to 3 servings per week. Then build toward daily consumption as your gut adapts to the increased fibers. 7 benefits. 1 vegetable. Available in most grocery stores for less than $2. After 50, your body is dealing with bone loss, blood sugar shifts, inflammation, muscle decline, and gut changes all simultaneously. Kohlrabi addresses all of these through completely natural mechanisms, backed by solid science. If this video gave you something useful, please hit the like button. And subscribe. It helps this reach other people in the same stage of life who genuinely need this information. See you in the next one.